guys, it's your boy Jacob Pearson coming at you with another deck tech. This time it's for Blitz with my main boy Oldhim. Now Oldhim is a elemental guardian with the essence of earth and ice. This means that he excels in basically slowing down your opponent, which is the ice side, and generating bigger attacks and preventing damage with the earth side. Those combine together to make a game plan that's quite devastating to your opponent's offense, just meaning that they're not really able to muster up a 4 or 5 card hand very often, if at all, during the game, if our game plan goes as we plan it. And with that being said, we'll bust straight in with just a quick chat about some of the equipment choices in here. I know some of them would probably be a little bit unordinary to most people. The first one is just the inclusion of Arcanite Skullcap. Now, I play Crown of Seeds in almost every single matchup. When you're playing Ultimate, it just gives you so much utility. Just the ability to basically pitch a blue card, turn your arsenal into an energy potion if you're drawing a blue off the top. As you can see, we do play a lot of those blues. And being able to get that resource generation, or during your opponent's turn, we're able to use our shield with something like Ironhide Legs, along with the crown, to really use our resources efficiently, and then use that to help us gain advantage through the game and push for that sort of fatigue game plan. The only other real thing I feel like I have to mention here is the inclusion of Sledge of Anvilheim. This is just a nice inclusion versing wizard players, as you're just able to activate Heart of Ice and then always maximize as much damage as you can once your Heart of Ice has been online. It's quite a nice little bit of tech there for you. Now we'll move on to the more exciting part of the deck. I'm talking about the blues, baby. Now, you wouldn't really think that blues are very exciting, but in Oldhim, they definitely are. All of these blues are integral to the game plan. These are your devastators. These are the things that are gonna push you over the edge. So we'll start with just a regular Guardian package. We have Blue Staunch Response. Very powerful defense reaction with the shield, Rampart of the Ram's Head, being able to pitch a card, defense reaction for 5, and then use that 1 defense on another block somewhere else. Nice in an emergency. You can also use Staunch for a secondary mode against Dorinthia decks, etc. We are able to pitch 2 blues, defend from 8 from Arsenal, completely shut down their turn. It's basically a red unmovable at that point. Then we have your Cranial Crush, nice solid attack. The Crush is relevant in some matchups. It's the best option there. In the blue slot, 6 for 8 comes up very often. The Tear Asunder, now this card, whoa, it's certainly gonna tear your opponent a new one. All right, I'm talking, you pitch a blue, you play your Tear, you pitch an ice, your Winter's Wail. Mate, that is absolutely extraordinary. That's what we're looking for. If you've already stripped down the equipment, they've wasted their equipment blocking your things, your red threats, then your Winter Wail's going to get through. They're going to get a Frostbite. They're going to discard 2 cards. It's all value for you. Now we move on to the only Earth cards we are playing. 2 copies of Autumn Touch. It's the only blue Earth card that defends for 3. Enough said. Solid. 2 Glacial Footsteps. Good finisher. So similar along the lines of Cranial Crush, just like a really solid attack that can push you through the late. 1 copy of Awakening. This card can be completely backbreaking in some circumstances. If you're falling behind early game, pitch, block with a shield, play your Awakening out, search for a Spinal Crush or an Endless Winter, and you'll be able to push through. Or if you have a Pulse in hand, you can take a bit more damage, use it to search up your Oakenold and get that kind of fusion action going. Very powerful one of inclusion. Now we have our Ice package. We play a lot of Ice. This is a primarily Ice-style Oldhim deck, where we got a bunch of these Winter's Bite. We can see we're playing 6 copies, 2 red, 2 yellow, 2 blue. Basically, the simple game plan you'll see me kind of executing with the couple of games that we have in this series is often I'll just play multiple Winter's Bites into a Winter's Wail, just guaranteeing that my opponent doesn't have a full grip of cards, or simply just playing one out when I have no other cards in my hand, just to make sure, especially versus Briar, that they don't have those 5-card hands. Those are absolutely insane. Blizzard, really nice at shutting down. It's a blue ice card. That's basically all it needs to be. Polar Blast synergizes very well with things like Spinal Crush and Command and Conquer. Very few times people will actually pay the 1 to stop the Dominate, unless it's probably going to be lethal, in which case you're getting an extra card. And if you play it from Arsenal, you're getting the draw effect, and it's ice. Ticks all the boxes. We have our inclusion of Winter's Grasp. It's a block 3 blue ice card, similar along the lines of Autumn's Touch, auto include in these style of decks. And then Channel Lake Frigid. Now this thing, oh man, it just makes me shiver. Now we're talking shutting down everything your opponent's doing if they're going for those big, massive turns. Lexi's not able to use her Voltaire or her hero ability effectively. You don't have to worry about their shock charmers. And some of the lines, Briar really struggles as well, chaining together all those actions and attacks. Pulse of Eisenloft, best card in the deck hands down, turns on both sides of Oldhim's effect, makes your deck very effective at blocking. This is a very important card to set up with your Oakenolds. If you can pitch stack your Oakenold and your Pulse together in a stack, or even 2 Oakenolds, then you can get some very powerful late game effects off. Even disregarding that, this card on itself, you want to see this card as often as possible throughout the game. It generates a huge amount of advantage for you. And then we'll move on to the reds really quickly. Not much to say here. We have our nice defense reaction package and 2 red Sink Below, 2 red Fate Foreseen. You also see 2 red sigils there at the top, just to kind of buy you some more time during the mid game where you're working towards that real grind and trying to strip your opponent of advantage. This deck blocks and defends very well. It's very good at stopping your opponent having those big turns, but sometimes you just need to buy back a little bit more life. Your Command and Conquer's very powerful in this deck. Just having threats that have to be blocked no matter what is what you need in this deck. These are very integral to beating the mid game, forcing blocks to make sure your opponent can have those powerful turns. I think you see a theme here, right, guys? Everything you attack with in this deck threatens some kind of on-hit or negative effect for the opponent. There's no sort of vanilla damage here. Everything is important. And that's why this deck can be severely devastating to those setup decks. It can be severely devastating to those aggro decks. The control can be a little bit iffy sometimes, but in the general game plan, you'll be really solid at getting there. The Oakenold we've already spoken about, really solid to kind of stack your deck and get that awesome fusion going. Endless Winter, trust me guys, your opponent's Winter will truly be endless when you smack them with this thing, especially with their fusion effect on. They're really not going to have any sort of turn. And then Spinal Crush, the only vanilla Guardian red that we have here. Again, it's along the similar lines of Command and Conquer, or CNC as some people like to call it, and it just requires some sort of action to defend it. A lot of these decks in the format at the moment are playing a lot of 2 defense cards, and Spinal Crush really punishes that, forcing multiple cards down in order to stop it. So it's often a 3-card block, they get an arsenal, and that's the end of it. So on the whole, we're just trying to play a really slow, grinded game, trying to minimize that damage that's incoming, and then just grind to victory. Often we just block out our hands, hit them with Winter's Wail, utilize our Crown of Seeds, try and hit our pulse as often as possible, set up those Channel Lake Frigid turns. Those are absolutely quintessential to this archetype, one of my favorite cards from the set. And with that, let me know if you guys have any questions. I'll be happy to answer them down in the comment section below. I'll hope to see you again soon. Thanks, guys.